Who controls the past controls the future. Who controls the present controls the past. If I would have to summarize the entire book into one sentence, this phrase from George Orwell will perfectly do so. In his masterpiece, 1984, the concept of totalitarianism has gradually developed through the intense living circumstances that Orwell depicts. Orwell devotes the majority of his words to describe what people see, hear, and do. Under the control of Oceania, the political party in 1984, people are prohibited from having negative thoughts toward the party because of the existence of thought police who can literally read people's mind. People are only allowed to perform limited activities as the party wants to limit the exchange of ideas, indirectly limiting the anti-propaganda notion. Most importantly, Big Brother is always watching you, meaning that no matter where you are and what you do, someone will always know and you will be caught sooner or later. Every page of the book shows some degree of totalitarianism. In the book, the narrator Winston Smith utilized malicious words of choice to depict the horrific psychological manipulation under the party control. Although Winston keeps a secret diary containing his opinion toward the party, he repeatedly mentions that one day the party will find out about the diary. He then introduced the idea of doublethink. Doublethink means the power of holding two contradictory beliefs in one's mind simultaneously and accepting both of them. Acquiring the ability to doublethink is inevitable in order to survive under Oceania Party. Orwell presents arguably the three most famous lines in the novel to account for the meaning of doublethink. War is peace, freedom is slavery, ignorance is strength. These lines seem to be nonsense and illogical nowadays in our society. However, they were the focus of Oceania Party. War is peace. The party repeatedly tells its people that they're constantly at war. Doing so gives the party and people peace because it limits the protest and turmoil within the party. People understand that if they cause more trouble, they will be in even more catastrophic conditions. The phrase freedom is slavery is closely connected to what is peace. If people have the freedom to speak and think, they will start to generate negative thoughts toward the party, and as soon as negative thoughts and actions emerge, the thought police and Big Brother will punish you, thus creating slavery. Lastly, ignorance is strength. If people stay ignorant and merely focus on the essential things that matter to them, they would not receive any trouble and bothering from the party. Being able to pass their time peacefully, people will retain the biggest strength. As you may know, there's a film adaptation from 1984. The film was directed by Michael Radford and initially released in the year of 1984. The film adaptation contains similar elements to Orwell's novel, though the film's focus differs from what Orwell intended. The story's respective form influences message as the film depicts torture and violence to emphasize on the physical manipulation, while the written text conveys a stronger message of psychological manipulation due to the repetitive propagandistic phrases written by Orwell. Both the text and the film adaptation present a similar setting, 20th century England, totalitarianism, Big Brother, doublethink idea. Although the big picture seems to be similar, the text and the film reveal different emphasis on how the party achieves its totalitarianism. In Orwell's novel, he described that psychological manipulation was the means that the party achieved its control. However, the film adaptation weighs physical manipulation over psychological manipulation, connecting it to one of the direct quotation, war is peace, freedom is slavery, ignorance is strength. In the book, Orwell repeatedly mentioned that the phrases are inscribed in massive letters in the party's office, making it obvious for people to see. The party reached its goal of psychological manipulation, brainwashing people and emphasizing on the idea of doublethink. Contrary to what Orwell has presented, those words were only mentioned a few times, and the film has never shown the scene where those letters are inscribed on a massive wall in the party's office. This inconformity shows how the text in the film weighed the method of reaching manipulation differently. Moreover, the incongruity in the general focus of the respective version leads to a difference in the message that each wanted to bring out. In Orwell's novel, he focused mainly on the political system that he imagines. Orwell fears that Europe will become dictatorial after World War II. He believes Oceania Party's psychological manipulation could one day become a real-life scenario in England. Therefore, he wrote this novel in mid-20th century to warn the possible political system that England could turn into. However, in the movie, the director focuses mainly on the love and sex relationship between Winston and Julia, the former mistress. As the story progresses in the film, the party eventually found out about their affair. Winston and Julia were caught in a hotel room. The film utilized the physical torture that Winston had to endure to convey this physical manipulation under the party's control.
The director devoted a large amount of time showing the physical torture that Winston had to go through after he was caught. Radford focused on the physical manipulation that an individual could potentially go through, provided that a country has already transformed into totalitarianism. To put it in a nutshell, the book and the film emphasized on the theme of totalitarianism in different ways. In the book, Orwell used the psychological manipulation that people would have to endure and to warn and prevent England from transforming into such governmental system. Different but pivotal, the film emphasized on the physical torture that people have to go through given that a country has already become totalitarianism. Orwell utilized the idea of doublethink to champion his warning, while the concept was merely mentioned in the movie.
What can I say? Fine, anything you like. Will you please stop it? Stop the pain.